I was sitting alone at the dining table, staring at the untouched meal in front of me. The candles flickered in the dim room, throwing soft shadows on the empty chair across from me. My wife, Claire, had texted me an hour ago. I'm at my sister's place. Emma needed help. Be back late. Love you. Just another evening that wasn't really an evening at all. For months, Claire had been using Emma as a convenient excuse for her sudden disappearances, late nights, forgotten dinners, unexpected errands, and family emergencies. Each time, her tone sounded polished, rehearsed, too practiced to be spontaneous. Emma and Claire hadn't been close for nearly a year. Not after the explosion at the family reunion, when Claire spread a deeply personal secret of Emma's to the whole room. Emma had cut her off, told her she needed boundaries, and Claire had cried for days, but learned nothing, which made it impossible not to sense that something was wrong. I pushed my food away and stared at my phone. If Claire was truly at Emma's, then Emma would confirm it. If she wasn't, then I'd finally have an answer to the suspicion gnawing at me for months. With a tight chest, I dialed Emma. She picked up after a single ring, sounding tired and irritated, as if expecting to hear from someone she disliked. When she realized it was me, her tone softened. "Jake, are you okay?" I exhaled slowly. "Emma, is Claire with you tonight?" There was a long pause. A heavy one, the kind that doesn't happen when someone tells the truth, only when they tell a truth they know will hurt. "Jake," she said carefully, "Claire hasn't been here in 6 months." My heart dropped into my stomach. She cleared her throat, voice cracking with some cocktail of guilt and anger. "I am sorry, but I know for a fact she's not here." I leaned back in my chair, the room tilting for a moment. "She texted me that she was." Emma inhaled sharply. "Yeah, she's been doing that a lot, but not with me." My pulse hammered. My fingertips tingled. "Emma," I said quietly, "I need you to be completely honest with me. Not as Claire's sister, but as someone who knows something." Another painful silence. "Jake," she whispered, "I hired a private investigator." I froze. Emma continued, voice trembling with fury she had clearly held in for too long. "I know my sister. I know her patterns. And I knew she was dragging my name through a mess. I needed to protect myself. And I needed to know the truth." I swallowed. "And what did he find?" "Can you come over?" she asked immediately. "Or I'll come to you. You need to see it for yourself." "I'm home," I said. "I'll be there in 10 minutes." My hands were shaking when I hung up. 10 minutes later, Emma stepped into my living room carrying a folder thick with printed papers, photos, and receipts. She didn't wait long. She opened it right on the coffee table, and my world tilted. There was Claire, laughing, her hand in the hand of a man I recognized only vaguely. Derek Hoffman, one of her coworkers from the marketing firm she joined last year. I remembered shaking his hand at a company party, seeing them exchange friendly smiles. Nothing more. Now I was staring at photos of them walking arm in arm into restaurants, leaving bars late at night, entering hotels together. Not once. Not twice. More times than I could count. Receipts. Credit card statements. Parking garage tickets. Hotel charges. Meticulous documentation. Emma had done the detective's job for me. I wasn't prepared for it, but I felt nothing at first. No I, no tears, no heartbreak. Just a hollow, cold silence settling into my bones. Emma sat across from me, elbows on knees, hands clasped. "She's been using me as her cover," she said bitterly, "dragging me into her lies, making me look like an accomplice. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve the truth." I nodded slowly. "Thank you for not hiding it." "We need to confront her," Emma said. "Now." She dialed Claire's number. Her voice was ice. "Come home. Jake needs you. Now." 30 minutes later, Claire walked through the front door. She stopped dead in the hallway. Candles, food, wine, and Emma sitting on the couch beside me, folder in hand. Claire's face drained of color instantly, like the blood had been sucked out of her body. What's going on?" she stammered. Emma stood up first. "Stop lying," she hissed. "Stop pretending you're at my house every time you disappear. I'm done being your shield." Claire's eyes widened in shock, then darted to me. "Jake, let me explain." I opened the folder. The sound of the paper flip made Claire flinch like she'd been struck. One photo after another. One receipt after another. Claire's betrayal printed in high definition. "Who is Derek Hoffman to you?" I asked quietly. She covered her mouth with both hands, shaking. "Jake, please. Is this you?" I asked, tapping the photo. "Or someone who looks exactly like you walking into a hotel with him at midnight?" "I can explain." "No," I said sharply. "You can't explain your way out of what's in these photos." Her knees buckled, and she leaned against the wall for support. I finally felt it, anger pouring into me like molten metal. "This marriage is over," I said. Claire gasped. "Jake, please. Let me talk." "Let me." Emma cut her off. "He doesn't owe you anything." Claire tried to grab my arm, but I stepped back. "Don't touch me." For the first time since the night began, she looked truly terrified. "Jake, you're making a mistake." "No," I said. "You made it." Over and over again. There were no more excuses. No fake dares. No speeches that could rewind the betrayal. I opened the door. "Get out." Claire stared at me, trembling violently. Her lips parted in disbelief. "You'll regret this," she whispered hoarsely. "Both of you will." Her voice cracked on the last word before she turned and walked into the night. When the door shut, Emma exhaled deeply and sank into the nearest chair. "That went better than I expected," she said, rubbing her temples. I didn't answer. I just looked at the ruined table, the cold meal, the extinguished candles. Emma glanced at the setting. "Jake, now the real fun begins." And in that moment, I realized she wasn't wrong. Because the lie Claire tried to sustain for months had collapsed in a matter of seconds. And now the fallout was only beginning. Emma stayed a while after Claire stormed out, mostly to make sure I wasn't going to collapse under the weight of what had just happened. But I didn't collapse. Something else took over, a chilling, deliberate calm. "Jake," she said gently. "She's going to try to come back. Cry, beg, threaten, manipulate. Be ready." I nodded, staring at the stack of photographic evidence. I wasn't angry anymore. I was planning. Emma rose from the couch. "Call me if she comes back." As soon as the door closed behind her, the house fell silent, too silent. My heart thumped in that emptiness, steady and cold. I looked down at Claire's favorite mug on the counter, her half-finished book on the armchair, her jacket hanging by the door. Everything suddenly felt staged. Fake, like I'd been living on a set designed by a liar. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with the evidence folder open, turning page after page until sunrise. Every detail of her betrayal was documented. Times, dates, locations. And then something caught my eye, a photo I hadn't fully studied before. Claire and Derek sitting very close at a dimly lit bar. Her hand on his thigh, his hand at her waist. Her smile, a smile she hadn't worn for me in months. It wasn't just adulterous. It was intimate, comfortable, practiced. The kind of softness people don't show on a first impulsive cheating night. That realization hit me hard. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a relationship, a secret one, a parallel life. And suddenly, I knew exactly what my next step would be. The morning after, Claire came home at 10 in the morning. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were bloodshot. She looked like she'd been crying or drinking. "Jake," she whispered the moment she walked in. "Please, we need to talk." I didn't look up from the laptop where I was already filling out online divorce paperwork. She noticed and froze. "Jake, don't do this. Not like this. You lied for months," I said calmly. "You lied using your own sister. You lied to cover the fact that you were building a life with someone else." "Wasn't like that," she cried. I tilted my head slightly. "Then what was it? A hobby? A charity project?" She shut her eyes, tears leaking through. "I made a mistake. Multiple," I corrected. She approached the table, voice trembling. "Jake, I need you. I love you. I was stupid and lonely, and—" "You weren't lonely," I said. "You were entertained." That broke her. She slid to her knees beside me, gripping my arm. "Please, I'm begging you. Don't throw everything away." I finally turned and looked her directly in the eyes. "You already did." Claire sobbed silently, fingers digging into the fabric of my sleeve. "I can fix it. I'll block him. I'll call him right now." "Don't bother," I said. "He already texted me." Claire jerked back as if slapped. What? I rotated the laptop so she could see. A message from an unknown number at 7:12 a.m. We both know she won't change. I'm done too. Good luck. Claire's breath hitched. He didn't, he wouldn't. Oh, he would, I said. And he did. Her face twisted with humiliation. She had been discarded by the man she betrayed me with. And now she realized she destroyed her marriage for someone who didn't even care. She stood abruptly and began pacing. Jake, you can't do this. We can go to therapy. We can rebuild trust. We can. No, I said, returning my gaze to the divorce form. We can't. Claire pressed her palms to her face. Please, please don't leave me. But she left me a long time ago. The unraveling. Over the next week, Claire spiraled. She wrote long, apologetic texts. She left voicemails begging me to reconsider. She cooked my favorite meals and left them untouched on the table. She slept on the couch, crying through the night. But I was done. My soul felt like a door that had finally slammed shut. One evening, I came home from work and found her sitting on the floor in the hallway, surrounded by tissues. She looked small, broken. Jake, she whispered, I don't know who I am without you. I stepped past her. That's not my responsibility anymore. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to get caught, I corrected. She pressed her forehead to her knees. I hate myself. I paused only for a moment, just long enough to realize I didn't feel anything. No sympathy, no anger, just freedom. Take care of yourself, I said, and I went to the bedroom to pack a small bag. Leaving her crying behind me didn't hurt. It felt overdue. The escalation. The next day, something changed. Claire's desperate texts became angry, accusatory, manipulative. You're destroying everything. You'll regret this when you calm down. You're throwing away our marriage over nothing. Nothing. That word told me everything. She wasn't apologizing because she was sorry. She was apologizing because she'd lost control. And then came a message that made my blood run cold. Derek says he never sent you anything. He thinks you texted yourself to make me look worse. I actually laughed. She was grasping at delusions now. I replied with a photo from Emma's folder. Claire kissing Derek in a parking garage. Her response came instantly. Where did you get that? Not it's not me. Not this is photoshopped. Not even this isn't what it looks like. Just panic. I wrote, from the person who knows you best. Claire didn't reply after that. The final straw. I want to see Emma 2 days later to return the folder and update her on everything. She greeted me with a hug. How are you holding up? I'm surprisingly okay, I admitted. I think I'm processing it faster than I expected. She poured us 2 cups of coffee and sat across from me. You're strong, she said. Stronger than she deserves. We talked for over an hour. About Claire. About betrayal. About moving on. It felt good to be around someone who was honest, grounded, and straightforward. Before I left, Emma touched my arm lightly. Jake, don't let her pull you back in. You deserve someone who won't treat your trust like trash. I nodded, feeling a small spark of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. But when I returned home, that spark extinguished instantly. Because Claire was standing at the door with a packed suitcase. I'm leaving, she said coldly. Congratulations. You win. I looked at her suitcase, then at her expression, now hard, almost hateful. This wasn't a competition, I said. She laughed bitterly. Everything's a competition, but don't celebrate too soon. You'll be miserable without me. I exhaled slowly. I already was. Her face contorted in rage before she stormed past me, dragging her suitcase loudly behind her. When the door slammed shut, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Not sadness. Not fear. Not regret. Relief. Like my life had finally taken its first clean breath. But the story wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because soon after Claire left, someone unexpected stepped back into my life. And she didn't just bring comfort. She brought light. Claire had been gone for a week. 7 full days of silence, of breathing clean air, of rediscovering what peace felt like. The house was calm now. No more crying in the living room at 2 a.m. No manipulative messages. No footsteps pacing angrily in the hallway. Just quiet. For the first time in a long time, I could think. I reorganized the kitchen, cleaned the garage, fixed things around the house I'd ignored for years. But even with all the small victories, there was a strange emptiness that lingered. Not a longing for Claire, but a realization that so much of my life had been shaped around someone who never truly valued it. Then, on the 8th day, Emma called. "Jake, I need to see you," she said. "It's important." There was something in her voice, hesitant but firm, that made me grab my keys immediately. The meeting. Emma invited me to a small cafe near the river. I found her at a corner table, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee she wasn't drinking. "Is everything okay?" I asked, sliding into the seat across from her. She took a breath. "I talked to Claire." I froze. What did she want? Emma looked down, playing with the sleeve of her sweater. She asked me why I helped you, why I took photos, why I got involved. I frowned. It was my marriage falling apart. "Why would she expect you to?" She said. Emma interrupted carefully that she always wondered if you and I had something. "Ich dachte her, stunt." What? That's insane. We barely saw each other except at work events. "I know," she said softly, "but Claire always had this insecurity around me. I guess she thought I was a threat." I leaned back, exhaling slowly. She cheated for months, and she's jealous of someone who never even looked at me that way. Emma's eyes met mine. "Jake, I didn't look at you that way." A rush of heat hit my chest. She blinked nervously. "Not while you were married. Not in a way that crossed any lines. But I admired you. You were kind, loyal, patient. You always defended Claire's career and gave her freedom she didn't appreciate." I swallowed hard, surprised by a warmth that spread through me. Not the sharp burn of betrayal, but something gentler. "Emma, why are you telling me this now?" "Because Claire accused me of ruining her marriage. And I realized something. She ruined it long before I ever took a photo." She reached for my hand, hesitant, trembling. "And you deserve to hear the truth from someone who actually respects you." I didn't pull my hand away. The unexpected confession. We walked along the river afterward, the winter wind sharp but refreshing. At one point, Emma stopped and faced me fully. "I think Claire cheated because she thought you'd never leave. You made her feel safe enough to act reckless." "That's not safety," I said. "That's entitlement." "Exactly," Emma nodded. "She treated your love like a guarantee, not a gift." We stood there quietly, watching the water move beneath the bridge. Then she said something that struck deeper than any insult Claire had thrown at me. "You were loyal to the wrong person. That doesn't mean you're unworthy. It means she was." The words cracked something open inside me. Because for months, I questioned myself. I'd wondered if I wasn't enough. If Claire cheated because something in me was broken. But Emma's voice cut through that fog like a blade. "You're not broken, Jake. She is." I felt a strange tension release in my chest, like I'd been holding my breath since the moment I found that condom in Claire's car. The return of chaos. Just when my life began to settle, Claire showed up unannounced. Late evening, rain pouring, her hair plastered to her face, her mascara running like she'd been crying for hours. I opened the door, just a crack. "What do you want?" She stepped forward, desperate. "Jake, please, let me in. I need to talk to you." "No," I said firmly. "You need closure, but you won't get it here." She flinched like she'd been slapped. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "I made the biggest mistake of my life." "You made many," I corrected. She ran her hand through her wet hair. "I'm pregnant." I felt my stomach drop. "But it's yours," she added quickly. I stared at her, stunned by the audacity. "Claire, you were sleeping with another man for months." "I know," she cried. "But the timing—" I cut her off gently but coldly. "You lost the right to convince me of anything the day you lied using your sister's name." She broke down completely, sinking to her knees on the wet porch. "Jake, I don't want to do this alone. I'm scared. Please help me." I hesitated, not because of her pain, but because for the first time, I realized something important. Her choices were not my responsibility. Her consequences were not my burden. Her life was no longer tied to mine. "You'll have support," I said slowly. "Legal, medical, financial if necessary. But not a marriage, and not a relationship." Claire sobbed harder. "Please, don't leave me alone." "You left me long before I walked away," I said, and I closed the door. Her cries echoed through the wood for a moment. Then they faded. She didn't knock again. The rebirth. 3 months later, The divorce was finalized. Claire moved in with her mother. Derek vanished from her life. Her job performance crashed. Her health deteriorated. I didn't rejoice in her downfall. I simply watched from a distance as the consequences of her choices settled around her like dust. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Emma and I started talking more. Then meeting for coffee. Then dinner. Nothing rushed. Nothing messy. Just two people learning to breathe again. One evening, after weeks of quiet closeness, she kissed me. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't urgent. It was gentle, like someone opening a window in a room you didn't know was suffocating you. "You deserve someone honest," she whispered against my lips. "And I want to be that person for you." For the first time in a long time, I believed someone. The final truth. I don't think Claire ever truly understood the real reason I left. It wasn't the cheating. It wasn't the lies. It wasn't even the gaslighting. It was the moment she made me feel disposable in my own marriage. A man can survive betrayal, but no man survives being treated like he doesn't matter. Emma once told me, "You didn't lose a wife. You lost a parasite. Now you're free to build something real." She was right. My world didn't end. It restarted. And this time, it began with truth, not illusion. The night I found that protection in Claire's car, I thought my life was ending. But now I see. It was the day my real life finally began.